Those that are live, we're a little bit late, and I apologize, but we were out looking at the beautiful new fire truck the town of Middlebury and all the taxpayers purchased, and wanted to see what a few $100,000 would get us. And nice looking rig, so look for it in the parades this summer. I guess the parades are all back, right? I'm going to call the meeting of Tuesday, May 10th to order. First item is approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Yeah, but it wasn't very loud.
Moved and seconded. We do have a deletion, item number 8, the ever-rolling merger discussion. Is there anything else to change here? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the agenda with one deletion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? I got you. Next is approval of the consent agenda.
I'm going to abstain for the minutes. I wasn't there last week.
Okay, let me get a motion.
I'll move
first
that.
here.
Second.
Moved and seconded, and I have an abstention on the minutes from Farhad. Anything else? Seeing none. Trying to remember. So the scooter is, just to highlight, the scooters are sometime mid-May, the last we heard.
And they have a manager, local manager?
That's where the
That's the holdup.
difficulty has been.
Still not, yeah, still not.
coming.
And they, in the final, so if anybody would like to manage the e-scooter pilot project, I'm sure that they would enjoy hearing from you. And then the other item of note I'd like to draw attention to is our town audit report from Cattell, Brannigan, and Sargent for fiscal year ended June 30th, 2021 is posted for anybody to look at. So we have a motion and one abstention. Other than that, I hear nothing else. All in favor of approving as such, signify by saying aye.
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 And get a thumbs up by Heather. Opposed? Okay, citizen comments. None here. Is there anybody online with a comment? Okay, not noting anybody. Then Bill, already to you, buddy.
See everybody? Been a while.
In
Yes,
person, no less,
yeah.
wow.
So this first one is the truck. We went out to bid for a new dump and plow truck last year. And I'm sure Brian's familiar with this in his business, probably, as are some others, but the stresses on the economy, transportation, cost of materials and whatnot is causing certain manufacturers to increase pricing. So the first increase on this was $4,500 in January, and the dealership, our Charlie Boys absorbed that for their customers. The second one is $5,800, I think it was, and they're not able to do that, so that's going to increase the cost to us. However, our budget number on this purchase was $228,000, and with this increase, we're still under that at $196. So we're still well within budget numbers. There was only one bidder on this, so it's not affecting anybody else. It would seem prudent to go ahead and continue on. They've given us until May 15th to make up our mind. It's scheduled to be built June 15th. And interesting enough, that both of these increases amounted to about 10.2%. I just got a letter from Caterpillar. Their price increase is 15.5%.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at.
that's unfortunately the way things are going right now. We have habitually in the past had the ability to lock prices and guarantee them, and with the world situation and the costs going up, manufacturers have decided they're not going to guarantee. So if it's not on the lot, or already built, they're typically not holding the price, so.
Yeah, and they've had some pretty long build dates for these too, so it's not like you're gonna order something and it gets put on the line next month, so they can't predict that far ahead, so.
Right, some of our build dates are 6 to 12 months out, so. Well, all of our build dates are 6 to 12 months out or longer.
When do you expect you'll have it back?
I don't know how long it's gonna take them to get it off the line and then ship it and then have the body build it, so, I don't know if we'll have it for this snow season coming up or not, so, just roll with it best we can, so.
Given that they have a build date now, they will guarantee that that's the last price increase, is that?
It should for us, yes. This doesn't go into effect until May 30th, so we just missed it. I mean, a couple of weeks, and we wouldn't have had to pay it, so.
Yeah.
Wouldn't imagine they would do another one for quite some time, so.
And they have already absorbed $4,200.
The dealership did, yeah.
Any other questions? Pleasure of the board.
Yeah, I'll move to acknowledge and accept the $5,800 surcharge from R. Charlie Boy for the body build of the Western Star 4700 SF tandem axle dump truck.
Second?
Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Getcha? Those opposed? It's unanimous. Okay. Do you have anything else while you're here?
I
Bill?
did, if you want to take it out of order.
Let's take it out
Please.
of order and go right
Yep.
to you.
It's fine by me. So, East Middlebury, North Branch Road, we plow that, to the town line. And then part of Dragon Brook, which is towards the end of our piece of North Branch, is in Middlebury and part is in Ripton. So over the many years, there's no good turnaround for our truck at the town line. So Ripton has been plowing about 400 feet of North Branch, and we've been plowing all of Dragon Brook. And their portion is about 1,600 feet. So it was a little inequitable, but, I mean, we just did it, to be a good neighbor, I think. And, with the recent change in the crew up there, we thought it was a good time to approach them and see about an agreement, kind of like we have on Cabo Road, which does the same thing. That weaves in and out, so we alternate maintenance on that. So with this, it's a 6-year agreement. They would continue to plow the end of the North Branch because, again, there's no turnaround. They would just do that every year, and we would alternate, the towns would alternate plowing the entire distance on Dragon Brook. And that makes it pretty equal when you look at the footages over a 2-year period. So as far as I know, the Ripton Selectboard is ready to approve this. It's been through council, they looked at it and had comments input on it.
How do you coordinate who's going to plow it on a given storm or when it needs it?
Well, that's why we always do this piece and they always do
Yeah.
that piece, so.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know if I understand your question.
Well, I thought you were saying that they would come down yay far and we would go up yay far and,
No, to avoid that, we've been plowing their part
Right.
of North Branch, or Dragon Brook.
Right.
And they've been plowing our piece
a,
of
a
North.
smaller piece, right?
They are
Smaller
plowing,
piece.
they are plowing because there's no good turnaround for them.
They have to turn around at the intersection of Dragon Brook.
Yeah.
And if they were gonna plow their piece of Dragon Brook, they would have to travel almost a mile up the hill to drop the plow. And turn
Are we
around.
doing that for the same reason because we can't turn around or we're just returning the
We
favor?
cannot turn around at the town line on North
Okay.
Branch. So again, Ripton will plow the end of North Branch every single year, and the towns will alternate plowing Dragon Brook. And each town still maintains, any kind of capital improvements, major ditching, culverts, large trees falling down, anything incidental to summer or winter maintenance, whoever's year it is would take care of it, so.
Gotcha.
Pretty similar to the cobble.
When I heard alternate, I thought alternate plowings, not alternate years.
Every year.
That makes a lot more sense.
And we wrote in here, just like with New Haven, an annual meeting in the fall, just to address anything that we've seen or know and keep communication.
Do that with Cobble Road.
I have to say the cobble's been better since we had the shared
I think so.
agreement, because I think it's clear whether you have responsibility or not. Before, it was like, well, are they gonna do it, or are we gonna?
It was funny, because once we started doing ditching and riprap out there on our piece of it, then they followed suit and did
Yeah.
it on their piece, so.
No, I think it's been better for that, and it seems to be a good solution, and this has worked informally, this just formalizes it,
Yep.
correct? Yeah.
And it's better for us than what we've been doing, so.
Yeah. Any thoughts on it, Heather? You good?
Yeah, it makes sense. It's the same thing we've been doing with Cobble, and, yeah, if Bill doesn't have any concerns, I certainly concerns.
Excellent.
Anything else? Pleasure of the board, then?
I'll move to authorize Town Manager Kathleen Ramsey to sign the agreement between the Town of Middlebury and the Town of Ripton for the maintenance of Dragon Brook Road and North Branch Road for a term of 6 years.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Bill, you got,
Right,
look at this,
Good.
7:14 and you're out of here. Wow.
thank you.
You drew the right straw.
Yeah.
It's not always this easy. Okay, back to item number 6, which is appointed boards, committees, commissions, and official positions. And we had the resignation of Ann Taylor from our DRB. And after serving for 6 years on the DRB, Ann Taylor made the decision to resign. In accordance with 24 VSA Section 127-308, the board will need to advertise for candidates interested in completing Ann's term. Staff will also notify any individuals who recently applied for appointment to DRB that they can submit again if they wish. Based on the timeline specified in statute, depending on how the discussion goes on item 6C, the board could make an appointment to the vacant position as early as its June 14th meeting. So we can't use the prior advertising and go from that.
Unfortunately, yeah.
That is unfortunate. She had resigned about
2 weeks.
3 days earlier.
Right.
Could have filled it. So we're advertising for that position. Next was a resignation of Carl Robinson from Parks and Recreation Committee. And email dated April 28th, Carl shared that he is choosing to resign his position as the Middlebury at-large representative on the Parks and Recreation Committee to give one of the other recent candidates for appointment an opportunity to be involved. And if the board is amenable, previous candidate Melissa Kinn could be appointed to complete Carl's 3-year term. So I had taken, like I said I was going to do, and I sent a note to all of the candidates who were not selected, and I did hear, thanking them for applying and letting them know, the rationale and what had happened. And Melissa did reply that she would enjoy an opportunity if one came. And so I'm guessing Carl stepped down to provide for that
Give it
opportunity.
a chance, yeah.
Great.
Any questions? And if not, the pleasure of the board.
I move to appoint Melissa Kinn as Middlebury at-large representative to the Parks and Recreation Committee to complete Carl Robinson's 3-year term.
Second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And we've got a thumbs up. Next, as we had talked about, and we've got time in our meeting because this looks to be close to the end here. So, let's just talk a little bit about what we see as where we want it to go with the refining our appointment process. So during our discussion that we talked about that we didn't have a defined cycle as far as no term limits. We didn't know who was even attending meetings and stuff. And so one of the ideas was that tracking of meeting attendance would be a good valuable tool for us as we look at reappointing prior members. And Kathleen has noted that staff could create a standard form that all committees would use for their attendance, turn it in, and then tabulate that, I guess, on a spreadsheet, keep that so that we would have it when it comes time to, for reappointment.
Yeah.
Is that, I'm assuming that everybody, but I don't want to just assume, I want to hear, is that worth the staff time? I feel it's important to know who's attending, who's not attending. It's always nice to know one of your legislators, if they were there for votes or not, when
Sure.
you're thinking about reappointing them, and this is a pretty critical governmental part of the community, so. It sounds like it's about the simplest way we could do it. It's just a simple check sheet. If they put them all in a folder, they could just input them once a month or something like that. It wouldn't be that big a deal.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I think we're good with that. Next was an idea for candidate interviews, and I'm not sure who came up with the idea, Kathleen, but I think that's a pretty cool idea, and if anybody has thoughts on that, the idea would be that we would have to start earlier in the process, right? And then it would be opportunity for us to actually have the candidates sit and share with us more than just the varied resumes or letters that we've had in the past. We could ask them questions as interviewing for a job, basically. And since we're appointing and these aren't elected positions, it would be our screening process. Thoughts on that?
I think it makes sense because sometimes I notice somebody will put their name and they don't even come to show their interest. I don't know how interested they are. Somebody wants to join a certain committee and we look for them, they're not here. We just see their name. So it's good to know them so we can gauge the level of interest they have. I think it's a good idea to have, I don't know if we can make that a compulsory thing that you have to show up for getting appointed, but it's good to see them.
I also agree. I think for those who are new, they have no idea to come.
That's exactly it.
So it's like, for those who are in the know, they come, they show up, they attend the meetings, but those who are new miss out and are like, well, I didn't know people were coming, or I would have showed up. So I think making this a part of the process would be helpful.
Yeah.
I like the idea, this recommends that they show up in the committee meeting and get it, and we could get a recommendation from
And
the
get to know-
committees.
Yeah, get to know the committee itself.
It might even make it so the committees might do some little recruiting to get people they want. I mean, some of the committees, a lot of the committees have specific skill sets that are really, really important, and I think this would really help.
Yeah, and I think it's just great to have some idea what you're getting into before you sign up for a potential 3-year term to do something.
Well, that would answer the call of whether or not everybody would be seen by the committee,
Yeah.
and we would hear more direct feedback, because right now we get feedback on 1 or 2 that may show up. So another good idea, Kathleen?
That was Jen, so I'm not gonna take
That
any
was
credit for
Jen's?
it.
Oh, I like that.
Wow.
I knew it was coming from staff somewhere, and I thought that was pretty good.
So while we are streamlining these tracking meeting attendance and candidate interviews, is there such a thing that committee should meet? How often? The only example I have is Parks and Rec, which they have not met, they met after a year. So is that something that we can do to say, okay, at least meet once a quarter or something, or not meet at all? There's such a disconnect if you don't meet often.
Sports committee?
Part of our idea was to have a little description of each committee and the commitment required. So the Parks and Recs committee meets quarterly.
Yep.
And this is other work that the committee is expected to do outside of committee meetings and that type of thing.
And
That's
some
great.
of them don't even have to meet every month or every 15 days. They can meet every 3 months, that's fine, but at least there should be some continuity to that.
Mm-hmm.
If we're gonna have a little blurb for candidates, maybe we could add what happens when you are appointed, because after our meeting, we had folks outside saying, who's gonna contact me? They don't really know what that process looks like, so.
That's good.
Sit by the phone and wait.
Yeah, just show up, please.
The other thought, and we've talked about this, trying not to do more than one, was to limit individuals to one committee appointment. And it may not always work, but maybe as a general rule of thumb, because there's times where we might want to, maybe we call it the routine committees or something, because when we've had special committees, we've wanted to pull somebody from, like, economic development or something like that, where we had maybe that's more of a task force, but I know when we were looking at appointing, we've kind of used this, let's try to limit to one the last couple times, but we haven't formalized that as far as our practice. I don't know if we want to formalize that, or,
As someone who was on one elected and 2 volunteer boards for the past year plus, I'm not particularly in favor of this.
Yeah.
I think if you're attending and contributing, that you shouldn't be necessarily out of the running for additional opportunities.
And I agree. I was also thinking this year we had like a plethora of folks apply, but what if one year we don't? What are we gonna, I mean, we could adjust the rules then, but just leaving it open, I think.
Maybe we could
is a
word
good
it,
call.
oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Maybe we could word it in such a way that states, we have, in the event that we have a lot of candidates who are qualified, we have a preference to seat
Sure.
one person on each thing, and that way there's some
We
flexibility.
want to diversify if we have more than,
Right.
you know.
That's
Yeah.
good.
I think that's already our practice.
Yeah, it's somewhat our practice, yeah. We looked at what other committees people were on.
Yeah.
We still wouldn't have been able to
No.
meet it with, if we only had people on one committee. I don't think we would have had enough for this year. Because there's already several people that are sitting on multiple committees. So,
Right. But as more and more people are excited
What a
about
great idea. I hope
town
that's the case.
governance.
until next year,
Mm.
okay.
I just think let it lie.
So here's here's my takeaway. Let me just recap.
Can I interrupt?
Yes?
Of course.
So, I wonder if it would make sense to modify that last section on appointments, to one new appointment per year. So they could have existing, terms on other committees if they wanna add an additional committee. But we'd only appoint them to one new committee annually. Does that make sense?
It's probably fine.
So long as we have sufficient candidates. Yeah.
Yes.
I think that would be our tendency anyway, when we're looking at multiple candidates coming in. I don't know if we need to formalize it.
I think formalizing it, creates at least the atmosphere of transparency.
I think I would be in favor of putting something down on paper that I don't know that is necessarily formal, but at least maybe some guidelines, so that we're not always in a position at the time of year where we're trying to decide, like, how are we gonna choose, So we're consistent and the board is consistent as members of the board rotate through as well. So 6 years from now, when half of the board is different, they have the same guidelines as, as the previous board from 6 years ago.
Given that's been our practice, I'm okay with,
We haven't had any issues before, have we, on this? We never did.
no, this is fairly new, though. We were recruiting for a lot of boards for years. This plethora of candidates is.
Just 1 year, yeah.
Well, we've had a couple good years here where people wanted to be involved, and some of it,
But I also noticed a lot of these candidates, they are very interested in these 2 or 3 very coveted committees like infrastructure and DRB. A lot of people are interested in those. I don't think there's a lot of interest in Parks and Rec or other committees, I think. And we also look at expertise when we try to get somebody on the infrastructure, we wanna see, if they have any engineering background or whatnot, right?
Brian, is it your thought that we, I guess, never mind, off topic. I was going to talk about automatically considering people for reappointment if they were interested in continuing, but that's not germane to number 3.
I was gonna bring it up, though, so.
Yeah.
Because it's not, it's something we've talked about, and it's not one of the things on here. And it doesn't have to be, but
While we're discussing it.
while we're on the topic.
Yeah.
Because I think if they're even, you're always weighing, experience and expertise against enthusiasm, and bringing more people into
And term
how we,
limits and all those
right.
things, yeah.
So, I'm inclined to think that some sort of reasonable term limits could be beneficial. And they could be something that is skipped if we don't have candidates.
But these are the volunteers who wants to do good for the community. And we're putting a limit on if they want to be involved.
Well, we're putting a limit on them continuing to be involved in exactly the same way they've been involved. We're not saying you can't join something else.
I think when we look at collecting attendance records and maybe even having the chair of these boards and committees let us know their preferences, that information would convey whether or not phasing someone out might be appropriate, or whether this is a great fit and they should do this so long as they're willing and able. I don't know that's easy to say, whatever, 3 plus 90% attendance equals whatever on this, but I think that recognizing that we want to get some more feedback about how these boards are performing, that the candidates really know what's going on and are interested, that like all of these are improvements to the process, and we don't necessarily need to have a checklist of how we keep or replace people.
that's kind of, my thought is, I don't want to overshoot the target. I making,
It's a good term.
I think making the attendance record a public record that we look at. I do like the idea of having a reference from, and I think we need to ask earlier on so that if they are thinking they would like to rotate someone off, the chair has an opportunity to talk to that person and so that they're not, so that it's not awkward when we're coming to the appointment time. And I think that's my job, I need to look ahead of, on that, or whoever's sitting in this chair position, so that it's not an awkward public discussion of a rotation that might be needed for the effectiveness of a particular committee. And so it could be the knowledge lacking of, or the lack of participation and attendance. It could be just, they're there, but they're not reading the packets, and so they're not contributing. It could be a number of different reasons. And so, belligerence to the committee, and so that it's not a good environment. There's a lot of reasons why a chair might want to move somebody and try shifting the functioning of their committee. So I don't think that term limits is the end-all be-all. I agree that some people will time out, but we have some very long-time serving committee members, and the historical knowledge of what's gone on prior sometimes can be a tremendous asset to the committee. We're lucky that we have a town manager who's got a lot of depth of knowledge of the community, but I know we were.
Thank you for not saying many years.
But when I was on the Public Works Committee, we were trying to decide something, and one of the committee members remembered from when they were young here. Well, they're old enough to be my parent almost, and that was incredibly valuable to our discussion at the time. And so you never know what's going to be valuable to any particular committee, and I don't think time is the critical part. I think the engagement in that committee, a diversification and some in the membership, whether that's diversity is one of the things that we really identify. I think age is as much, but with male and female on committees, so I'd like to start with some of these tweaks and see if this improves our process.
I'm good with that.
I agree.
You have a hand up by Judy Weicker-Rose.
Hi, Judy. Oh, we got to bring you in here. Did she take her hand down? Or?
No, she's
No,
in the
she's-
room now.
Yeah.
You're
She's-
muted.
Oh, she's up in the corner, yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
there she is. Judy, you're muted. Are you there, Judy?
Hey, there we go.
Can you hear me now?
We
Now I
can.
hear you.
Okay, I just want to, I think I missed the citizens' comments. And all I wanted to do is say thank you for appointing me to yet another term on the infrastructure committee. That's, so I come in peace. I just wanted to say thank you.
Duly noted.
Welcome.
And you will receive a lot more green infrastructure in the next 3 years. But I come in peace.
Okay. Well, I'm glad.
Thank you, Judy.
Thanks, Judy.
Thank you. Let's Thank you.
Okay, so, I don't, think- and no motion really needs to be made, but if we're all in agreement with that, we'll see about, instituting that as our process. And we'll have to start it in January, which means, that it'll carry through through the election cycle. Okay.
Wait,
When-
sorry.
Yeah, go please.
Question for you. So did we make a decision on, limit individuals to one committee appointment or no? Or like a recommendation?
I think it's a recommendation that we try
Okay.
to do that. On any given year, no more than one appointment to a,
Yes,
Every day.
okay. Got it. Sounds good. Thank you.
Andy had something.
Yeah.
I did, and what was it?
Oh.
That's fine. Yeah.
High five over 40s.
Yeah, something like that. Just hope it's not long COVID. Oh, you were saying starting in January, and that's for the next appointment cycle. I hope we're going to,
until after the
yeah.
elections.
I hope we're going to start tracking attendance sooner than that.
Oh, yes.
No, the
I
procedures are
think-
going in now.
I think it'd be easier if we start right
Yes,
now,
thank you.
after the appointments, that way. we'll
Perfect.
be
That way
right
we
up
have
to
a whole
date.
cycle.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah, And
Very
we'll-
good.
And we'll start writing this up and tuning up the website
Great.
page on appointments so that people know what to expect going in.
Great.
Sounds great.
Is that it?
That was all I had.
Good?
Yeah.
All right, easy peasy. Heather, are you doing check warrants, or did you swap out?
That's me.
You got it? Okay, you've got it.
Lindsay's covering warrants for me.
Yep, Lynn's got it.
Alrighty, I move to approve total expenditures in the amount of $583,451.18, consisting of $473,297.34 for accounts payable and $110,153.84 for payroll for the period of April 26th, 2022 through May 10th, 2022.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thumbs up. Okay. Board member concerns. Heather, we'll start with you.
I'm most bummed about the fact that I missed the fire truck.
Uh-huh.
I thought of you.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
Um,
We all got a chance to drive it, so too bad you didn't get to do that.
Yeah, Heather, you,
just rub it.
Heather, you've been sick, but not that sick.
It's like 0 to 60.
Half an hour.
And big thank you to Lindsay for swapping, warrants with me. I appreciate you covering me this week on that. And that's it, that's all I got.
Okay, thanks, Heather. Esther?
Yeah, great short meeting, I'll take it. But I also wanted to make a comment for those who are listening, those who are out there looking for rentals.
Oof.
I'm with you and I feel you. The market is so tough. I've been looking for months and haven't gotten anything. It's been disheartening, so those out there, I'm with you, I feel you, and I'm so proud of the work that we started and we're gonna continue to do to make that better in the future.
Properties are still selling like hotcakes.
I know, but a
Just the other
rental.
day, right across from my store, there's a Total Image salon. She owns it.
Yeah,
The Stones walked in and offered her, and right on the spot, they made a deal and she's up. They bought it.
Wow.
And they converted into 2 rental units.
Good.
wow.
Yeah, it is tough.
Farhad?
I have 2 or 3 things, depending on how we go about this now.
Oh.
One of them, I was at the BMP meeting the other day, and one thing they brought up was when the train station is gonna be opened. I think Sanders, Leahy, and Welch, they're coming up to Jens and do some inauguration, and they're turning around and going back to Burlington. And BMP is not happy about that. They couldn't make the trip, they don't wanna come to Middlebury for some reason. I don't know if his car's involved with that or not. I'm wondering why Middlebury is being ignored by them. We had a bigger project, we had a, right, the downtown improvement and everything. So, I don't know why, she had a meeting with the transportation department, and that lady said, I'll give you $500 if you wanna do something on your own here. But they won't have time to come to Middlebury, Bernie Sanders and Welch and Leahy, so I don't know. So I don't know if we can do something now. I think it's an opportunity that we should take avail of. We can. Have you heard anything through the grapevine about this at all?
Are they still tracking for June for the first
Yeah,
train?
no, July, July. July 21st or 28th,
So it's pushed about a month.
yep.
Okay.
So if,
And when the senators doing their ribbon cutting in Virgins?
morning, they'll come there, they'll spend 10 minutes there, and they'll turn around and go back.
The day of the first train?
The first train, yeah. From what I hear. So Karen Dugan might have more information, if, Kathleen, if you want to get in touch with her. So the other thing I had was, you must be aware that there was a phone outage last week, pretty widespread. We had no phone for 2 days, and I had several people call me, approach me at the store, and they were wondering why the cell, no cell. I think the construction on top of the green, they hit something, and
They hit a major cable, I think DigSafe missed marking
that's
it.
what I heard.
You
yeah.
sent out an email on that, but that would knock out,
I'm surprised that hit cellular.
It knocked out a lot.
yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah,
So,
I was glad I was out of town.
one of the things they were wondering was there should have been a email blast sent to the people that this is what happened or something.
There
like
was.
that. An email from the town or something.
There was. Wasn't there an email from the
Yeah.
town? I was in Florida and knew about it.
Yeah.
No, I didn't notice, but people were asking me, but that was another thing. The third thing I have was, I know there was a hate crime when somebody assaulted some students, right?
Oh, yeah.
I saw the email and stuff, but just before that, there was another vandalizing incident happened at the Islamic place at the college.
Mhm.
Somebody came and they threw a cup of urine on the door in the month of Ramadan, and there were two girls alone, they were praying inside, and somebody tried to break in the door and stuff, and they don't know who got them, who that was, they didn't catch them. But I think it was very underreported, nobody even knew about it. I read it from Vermont Digger up in Burlington, they reported it, I didn't see it in AD&D. So it's scary that somebody will do something like that in Middlebury. That's all I got. Have you heard about that? Or no?
Yes. It's gone through my office.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did they catch the people?
No.
Andy?
Yeah, you guys have covered everything. I'm good.
I have nothing, thanks.
I was going to say my yearly, I love this time of year in town with all the flowers coming up, and shout out to all the people who take care of our parks because it always looks fabulous. I was able to go to that, there was a meeting at Ilsley last week or the week before, time blends together, about a potential skate park. And there were dozens of people there, a really nice cross-section of ages. The skateboarder in my family is Kami, who took it up at 40-something during the pandemic because his gym was closed. But lots of kids, lots of families, a lot of Middlebury College students, so it was really nice to see. So I'm sure we'll be hearing from that group as time goes on. And then the other thing I wanted to say is that the Teen Center and the library are working on having our first Pride Parade here in Middlebury. We just got the permit for June 18th, which is a Saturday. It's gonna be very short and homey, not a big deal, but we're looking to move from the College Park up to the green And
Nice.
hopefully we can pull off some other things after the parade is actually done, but so far, that's as far as we've gotten in the planning process, because this is new.
Is that a parade of its own, or is it part of the Memorial Day parade?
No, it's separate, yeah, it'll just be, it's something that a lot of teens have asked for. There's a teen group that meets at the library, and of course, like ACT has a number of teens, and a lot of them have asked for this, so we're gonna try to make it happen.
It's great. I'm sorry I'm gonna be out of town. Yeah.
Okay. I don't really have anything. I had a great vacation
Nice.
and came back to all kinds of news, but luckily nothing too bad. Power was restored, so we have a anticipated,
No executive session.
no executive session. Okay. Said
Hey,
said
before
anticipated.
8 o'clock.
It'll be a record.
I was hopeful that we would have some news.
Did come back, huh?
It didn't come.
We'll just keep rolling that one too.
Yeah.
Hey,
48
how about
minutes.
that? Heather, you're not the
Not
only
yet.
one who gets a short meeting every now and then.
We're gonna go back to that fire truck now, it's still outside.
Move to adjourn.
Second that?
I don't think you can do that as the new
That
guy,
was
you
me,
know that?
second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think
All
so.
in favor?
I don't think so.
Somebody saying aye?
Aye.
Okay, have a nice evening, everyone.
Here's the
Yes.
letter